Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're looking at two early Queen Elizabeth coins, the 1953 and 1954 sixpence from the United Kingdom. These coins are part of British pre-decimal history, and some examples are surprisingly valuable to collectors, especially in top condition or with rare minting errors. In this video show you what to look for, how to tell if you have a valuable coin, and what they are selling for. Right now, let's get started. First up, to truly appreciate the 1953 sixpence, we need to step back and understand the period in which it was minted. Britain in the early 1950s was still recovering from the devastation of World War II. Rationing was still in effect for certain goods, the economy was rebuilding, and the Royal Mint was tasked with producing enough coinage to meet demand for circulation. In the UK and across the Commonwealth, King George VI had passed away in February 1952, and Elizabeth II acceded to the throne shortly thereafter. 1953 marked her coronation, and the Royal Mint launched a fresh series of coins bearing the new monarch's effigy. The sixpence, long a popular denomination because of its role in daily commerce, wedding traditions, and lucky charms for brides, was a centerpiece of that launch. The decision to use Mary Gillick's portrait rather than a more formal crown portrait set the tone for Elizabeth's early reign. Youthful, modern, and optimistic, the obverse of the 1953 sixpence is graced by Gillick's famous uncrowned portrait of Queen Elizabeth facing right. Collectors often comment on the elegance of this design, with the Queen depicted without a tiara or crown. Her hair, tied with a ribbon around the portrait, is the Latin legend Elizabeth Dei Gratis Brito and Regina FD, which translates to Elizabeth by the grace of God, Queen of all the Britons, defender of the faith. The reverse features a symmetrical arrangement of national floral emblems: the Tudor rose for England, the thistle for Scotland, the shamrock for Ireland, and the leek for Wales. These are placed around the crown at the center with the denomination sixpence and the date below. The reverse design was created by Andrew Fuller and Cecil Thomas, and was praised for its balance and symbolism, representing unity of the nations of the UK. During the early years of Elizabeth's reign, by 1953, Britain had long since abandoned silver in its small coinage. Before 1947, sixpences were made from 50% silver, but after that date, cupronickel, a copper-nickel alloy, became the standard. The 1953 sixpence weighs 2.83 grams and measures roughly 19.30 millimeters in diameter. Its smooth edge and light color made it distinctive. In the pocket, being cupronickel, its intrinsic melt value today is minimal, just a few cents worth of base metal, so its value is driven entirely by collectability rather than metal content. Still, this change from silver to base metal marked a turning point in British coinage, and many collectors seek out 1953 coins as part of a complete Elizabeth decimal and pre-decimal collection. The striking quality of the coin can vary depending on whether it was intended for circulation or for inclusion in special mint sets, which brings us to the question of mintage and production numbers. Here is where we dive into numbers. The Royal Mint struck approximately 70.3 million sixpences for circulation in 1953, which is a very healthy mintage, meaning it is not an overly rare coin in circulated condition. However, collectors often distinguish between circulation strikes, specimen strikes, and proof strikes. The so-called information likely refers to the total breakdown of mintage figures across different sets or production batches. About 3000 specially struck sixpences were prepared for inclusion in high-quality uncirculated coin sets that were sold to collectors to commemorate the coronation year. These special coins have sharper details, smoother fields, and can sometimes be mistaken for proofs. If you own one from such a set and it remains pristine, its value can be many multiples of a regular pocket-worn example. Understanding which version you have is crucial before determining its worth. So what is a 1953 sixpence worth? The short answer depends almost entirely on condition. A common well-worn example might only bring in £1, £3. On the open market, a nice, extremely fine F or about uncirculated O piece might fetch £5, £10, but a fully uncirculated example, particularly one with full mint luster and no Handling marks can command £15, £25 or more, especially when certified by a grading company such as NGC or PCGS. Specimen or proof like strikes from coronation sets can go even high, sometimes £40 or £50, if in pristine packaging. On auction sites like eBay, prices fluctuate depending on demand, photography and timing, so sellers can sometimes get surprisingly high bids for coins that simply look appealing. Always compare prices from reputable dealers and check recent sold listings to get an accurate sense of current market value. You asked about subscription details, which is a great topic. In 1953, the Royal Mint allowed collectors to order complete coin sets directly. This was one of the earliest examples of a collector subscription, where the public could purchase a specially prepared set of coins struck to higher standards than those found in circulation. The subscription was a huge success, with tens of thousands of sets sold worldwide, particularly to members of the Commonwealth who wanted a keepsake of the young Queen's coronation year. Today, these original sets, often called plastic sets because they came in a transparent case, are highly collectible. If you find a 1953 sixpence still sealed in one of these original holders, it will likely be better preserved and more valuable than one that has been loose in circulation for decades. Modern collectors sometimes recreate this experience by subscribing to current Royal Mint annual sets, a tradition that continues today. When evaluating a 1953 sixpence grading is everything. Start by checking the sharpness of the Queen's hair ribbon and facial features. The finer the detail, the higher the grade. Look at the reverse. The crown, rose petals, and thistle tips should be crisp. Any flattening means where surface marks, scratches, or corrosion also reduce value. If you believe you have a particularly nice coin, consider sending it for third-party grading. This will encapsulate the coin in a tamper-proof holder and assign it an official grade, which can significantly increase your confidence when you sell. Be wary of cleaned coins. They may appear bright, but cleaning often leaves hairlines that actually lower the grade. If you are unsure whether your coin has been cleaned, compare it to certified uncleaned examples online or at coin shows. While the 1953 sixpence is not a rare treasure in the sense of being worth hundreds or thousands, it represents a very important collectible milestone, the first year of Queen Elizabeth II's coinage. As time goes on, high-quality specimens are becoming scarcer because many have been mishandled, lost, or corroded. For collectors building a type set of Elizabeth pre-decimal coins, the 1953 sixpence is absolutely essential. For investors, it may not yield massive profit, but it is a stable, historically significant piece that could appreciate modestly, especially in high grades or as part of a complete coronation set, and of course, is sentimental value for those who lived through that era is priceless. It also makes a wonderful gift for anyone born in 1953. So there you have it, a deep dive into the 1953 United Kingdom sixpence, its history, design, minting numbers, value ranges, and even subscription set background. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just someone who found one of these coins in a family drawer, it's a great piece of history to hold in your hand. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to see more content, decimal British coins, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. Drop a comment below telling us if you own a 1953 sixpence and whether it's from circulation or a coronation set. We'd love to hear your stories. Next up, 1954 was an important year for Britain. It was only 2 years into the reign of Queen Elizabeth, whose coronation had been celebrated worldwide. In 1953, the country was still in the midst of post-war recovery, and the Royal Mint was striking coins at full pace to keep the economy moving. The sixpence had been a beloved denomination for centuries, used for everyday purchases, tucked into Christmas puddings for luck, and even given to brides as a charm for prosperity. The transition from King George VI's portrait to Elizabeth II's had just happened, so the 1954 sixpence represents one of the very first full-year issues of her coinage. Owning one is like holding a piece of history that marked the beginning of a record-breaking reign. The design of the 1954 Sixpence is deceptively simple but packed with symbolism. The obverse shows the uncrowned portrait of Queen Elizabeth, designed by Mary Gillick, which collectors admire for its youthful, fresh, almost sculptural quality. A very different look compared to the more formal crown portraits of previous monarchs. Around the portrait runs the Latin inscription, Elizabeth Dei Gratis Regina FD, meaning Elizabeth by the grace of God Queen, defender of the faith. On the reverse we find Edgar Fuller and Cecil Thomas's beautiful design that combines the Tudor rose of England, the thistle of Scotland, the shamrock of Ireland, and the leek of Wales, all surmounted by St. Edward's crown. It's a subtle but powerful visual statement about the unity of the United Kingdom. By 1954, the composition of the sixpence had fully switched to cupronickel 75%, copper 25%, nickel as silver had been removed from the alloying. 1947, the coin weighs 2.83 grams, measures 19.30, 2000 in diameter, and has a milled edge. Its non-precious metal composition means it does not carry any real melt value today, so its worth is entirely determined by collector interest, condition, and rarity of certain varieties or strikes. For those who enjoy the feel of coins, the cupronickel gives it a bright silvery look that holds up well over decades, making high-grade examples particularly attractive in a collection. One of the most common questions collectors ask is how many were minted. The answer: quite a lot. The 1954 sixpence saw a mintage of over 105 million coins, which means it is not rare in circulated condition. However, the so-called term that you sometimes see online or in coin dealer notes typically refers to a subset of coins struck to a higher standard, possibly around 30.00 uncirculated coins, prepared for distribution in collector sets rather than for general circulation. These are sharper, with better surface finish and stronger strike, and they are the examples that can bring a premium today. If you have a 1950 for sixpence with brilliant surfaces and know where it may be one of these special uncirculated strikes because of its high mintage, a well-worn 1954 sixpence is very common and might sell for just £1 or £2, or even be found in bulk coin lots. However, condition can be worth £5, £8, while fully uncirculated examples with mint luster can command £10, £20 if you have a coin still sealed in its original collector set packaging, or one graded by a third-party service like NGC or PCGS. The price can jump even higher, sometimes £25 or more if demand is strong. Proof-like or specimen strikes, which are scarcer, may bring the best prices on the market. Now let's talk about subscription details. In the 1950s, the Royal Mint allowed collectors to purchase full annual coin sets directly, effectively an early form of subscription. Many collectors bought these as coronation mementos or simply to have a pristine record of the first years of Elizabeth's reign. Today, if you find a sixpence that came from one of these original sets, it's usually in much better shape than one that rattled around in pocket change. Collectors will often pay extra for a coin still housed in the original case. These sets are also historically significant because they represent a snapshot of Britain's coinage in a given year, making them highly desirable to numismatists who collect by date and type. If you're looking for a great 1950 for sixpence, pay attention to strike quality and surface preservation. Examine the Queen's portrait. The hair ribbon should be fully visible, the cheek should not be flat, and there should be minimal bag marks. Flip the coin over and check the crown and floral emblems. The thistle tips and rose petals should still have sharp definition. Any corrosion, pitting, or cleaning marks will hurt the coin's value. Original mint luster is key for top-grade pieces. If you find a coin that looks exceptional, consider having it graded professionally to maximize its resale value and to protect it from damage. While the 1950 for sixpence is not rare enough to make you rich, it's a charming and affordable way to collect a piece of mid-century British history. It is also a gateway coin for many collectors who are building a full Elizabeth pre-decimal date run. Over time, high-grade examples may appreciate as more people seek early reign coins in top condition, especially now that Elizabeth's reign has ended and interest in her early coinage has grown. For those who collect by type or by year, the 1954 issue fills an essential slot and is easy to find, which makes it satisfying for beginners and experts alike. So there you have it, the complete story of the 1950 for UK sixpence, its history, design, Composition mintage numbers. The so-called uncirculated coins. Subscription set significance. And its current collector value. This little coin may not be rare, but it's historically rich and makes a wonderful addition to any collection. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to and ring the bell for more videos on British pre-decimal coins. Leave a comment below telling us if you've got a 1954 sixpence, whether you found it in change, inherited it, or bought it as part of a collector set. Thanks for watching.